you pick one that's comfortable with you and kind of grow with it. So when I first started this in spring, I was doing it via Google Meet, and I was sharing my Google Meets, um, my videos with my teachers as a link. And so
In that closet.
that grew into you know, a bigger deal. So which I will show you later. But again, pick one that you want to start with, one that you're most comfortable with, and grow with it. Get your faculty and staff and students involved. Um, your ultimate goal is to bring your community together and keep them informed. So whichever way you do it, it's perfect for you. And on top of everything, you get to promote you and your media center. One thing that I did find out in the spring was that I would go to I would go to Publix or somewhere like that, and I would see some of my kids, and even the parents would go, "Oh, that's Mrs. Lipsher. She's on the morning news." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" You know, I became like this semi little tiny teeny celebrity for a short amount of time. So it's really great too for your parents to see all the things that you're doing for your school community. So I'm going to show you how to do this via Google Slides first, because I think that is probably the easiest way for you to do it. And if you just start with a Google slide presentation, I'm going to move this over here. You can decide on what theme you want. I chose this one down here just because my school's colors these are my school colors. So choose a theme or create your own. It doesn't matter what you do. Then I have different, when I have my regular morning news, I have, and again, if you are not muted, please make sure you are. Thank you. I have different segments to my own morning news all the time anyway. So one of the first things that we do is we start off with the morning news. We talk about what day it is and what day it is for fine arts. So you can have your first slide that says that. If you want to add anything special, for instance, if you wanted to go here, let me see, where am I? Oh, I just lost all my stuff, but that's okay. Let me get out of themes. And if I want to, where are my transitions? Well, if I wanted to make this spin or something I might not be able to do that on my first slide. So then I would go to the weather. And I was very fortunate that my staff really got on board with this with me. And so I had them sending me videos of themselves daily. And I said, look, it doesn't have to be professional. You want it to be as just as down to earth as you can be, because here we are in this situation and everybody wants to just see who you are. So here is one of my first grade teachers, and I inserted a video that he did. So if I decided that I didn't want this video, and I'll show you how I did it, I would go into insert, and then you go down to video, and it would bring up, and I have a whole bunch of different videos saved into my Google Drive. And then here's Mr. Gallucci, and I would grab him, select it, put him in, and then I can make it to the size that I want him to be and move him over however you want that to go. And then what's really important is over here, for some reason, let me move this. There we go. So you want to make sure that it auto plays. One of the things that you're going to see at the end is that I suggest everything be less than 30 seconds. So here it shows me that this is a 16-second video, and if I press it, it's going to work.
Good morning, Morris Point. This is Mr. Gallucci reporting from the beach. Oh. Watch it, kids. Anyway, today is Tuesday.
That people can see. So attention, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And then I have another staff member who sent me videos, and I had, and you can ask all of your staff members or your news crew to send you a picture of themselves saying the Pledge of Allegiance. And then at the end, I always include a thank you for watching, and then it's done. So what do you do with that? Well, you're gonna publish it to the web. Once you do that, you can insert it into Google Classroom and you can insert it into your Google Sites. So I recommend that if you do it into your Google site, definitely make sure that your people who are your videos are less than 30 seconds, because once you publish, and I'll show you how to do that, you're going to go into File and you're going to go down here to Publish to the Web. And you want to make sure that it starts the slideshow as soon as somebody plays it. You can even restart it if you want. Here's the link to copy. But this is where you want to make sure, because if you have every 3 seconds, they're going to say, hi, Marsh Point, and it's going to switch, or hey, Independence Middle, and it's going to switch. So you want to make sure that you have at least 30 seconds for your videos to play. You're going to go here, you're going to copy your link, and then you'll have it to publish either to Google, either to your Google Classroom or to your Google site. Let's see if I can get out of here. Published. Why isn't it doing that for me? I don't know. Let's stop publishing for a second. Okay, because I already have it published. All right, so if I went to my Google site, and I'm making sure everyone knows that this site is being constantly updated, but here is one that doesn't have any videos, that does go every 3 seconds, one that we are working on, and every time you change this and you refresh, it changes on here, so you don't have to republish. So yesterday, my clerk and I were working on this. We changed this particular slide. We added this slide. Once we refreshed, the link stays there, and everything stays on there, and it just changes. And that's on my Google site. If you wanted to put it into your Google Classroom, this is just my practice Google Classroom that I made. So I can go to classwork. I can go to create material, because I don't want it to be assignment. I can say morning news. I can add my link, because I saved my link, and add the link. I'm going to make sure that I save it to my topic, which is news. And that way, these slides, once it posts, they can click on it. If you want to send this link to your teachers, my particular staff wants me to send the link to the teachers. They like to do it in their own classrooms, and so I make sure that by 5 o'clock the previous day, I send them the link. So I have to do everything a day in advance. I send them the link, and then that's how they start their morning. I also include it in my Google Classrooms so that in case they miss it, it's there, and they can always go to my Google Classroom. And this year I'm also including it on my Google site. Sometimes if the teacher wants to go faster, she can click through it, but it's easy that way. All right. So, Lisa Petrosia. Yes.
Before you go on, we've got a couple of questions.
Oh, okay.
We had a question of, can you change the colors of the template?
Yes. So, for instance, if I went back here, and I make sure that nothing is highlighted, so there's no boxes around anything, and you can go to background. So once you go to background, you can pick your color. You can choose whichever color you want. If I want this color, I can do it. I can even go to custom, and I can make it a different color, and I can say okay, and I can add it that way. Or if I want an image, let's say I have an image saved, I could go here. I could browse my photos. I have no idea what's in my photos right now. Let's say I want this one and I want to insert it in there. It will do that for me. And I have my background.
So that
So
person
there's
that
lots of
said,
different things you can do.
that person said specifically, she meant the intro or the
Sorry?
ending slide. Can you change the colors on those?
So I chose that theme. I'm not exactly sure, but you can always create your own theme as well.
Okay, we've got a couple more questions before we move on. How
Okay.
did people send you the video? Was it via iPhone or email?
So both. A lot of people would send me, I would let my staff send me stuff via my phone. It was easy for me because then I would just airdrop it to my computer. I have a Mac, and I would do it that way and as a download. However, if you want it in your Google Drive, then you do have to make sure that you send it to your computer and save it to your Google Drive so you have access to that.
Okay, the other question we have is, so you edit and use the same slideshow every day so the link stays the same?
Yes.
And somebody else asked, do you have the kids on the news crew edit the slides, or do they just do segments?
So last year, because we were thrown into things, I am somewhat of a control freak. I maintained control and I had my staff do it. And then as we got along and going in, I would have students, including even like first graders, send me a video of them making, for instance, we always had a lunch segment. And so I had a first grader send me how she made her peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It was adorable. So people would then send me via email with the help of their parents some videos, and I was able to incorporate it that way. This year, I've made a Google Classroom for my news crew. We are doing a Google Meet next week, and I'm requiring them to, every person has to do the Pledge of Allegiance for me. They might have to do a fun fact or a book share. They may have to do a joke of the day. My assistant principal did a joke of the day, which was a huge hit. People were like, they couldn't wait to see the joke of the day because they were just so corny and dumb, but he would always incorporate like a teacher's name in it. So, you know, he would say, why did Mrs. Lipsher do da 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 in the media center? And then I mean, he would have the answer. But even the cornier sometimes the better. I once got in, I didn't have, no one sent me anything for the weather, and it was supposed to rain the next day. So I got in my shower with my umbrella and I let the rain just fall around me. I mean, different, like a blustery day, I got a fan and I was pretending to be blown away by it. So as goofy and fun as you want to be, then they really want to come back and see it. I hope that answered it.
All right.
So that's one way that you can do this. If you wanted to not, if you wanted to republish the link each time, you could, but I don't believe you have to. Lisa Petrosha from Independence Middle School, she is trying to incorporate her news anchors into her morning news. So what she did is I asked her to send me what she was doing, because she's really, you know, an outside of the box thinker. And so she created a morning news Google Classroom, and she attached the TV Studio Bitmoji into there. She has her students join the meet each day, and then she displays this is what she's planning on doing. She's going to display the Bitmoji TV Studio, and through a Google shared folder, she's going to give them like what they have to say. And I told her, you know, maybe they read it on their phone if they're in middle school or high school, or maybe if they're reading it from as an elementary school student, maybe you give it to them beforehand and they can print it out or something like that, even though I know we're not supposed to be printing so much. But then whoever is anchoring and whoever the camera person is, they create their own Bitmoji, and then they sit into they put their input it into their Google, this Bitmoji Google TV studio, and then they're going to read the announcements while she records the meet session. She has her flag that is attached to a YouTube pledge video, and the eagle in her they are the eagles. So it would also link, and I'm going to show you what her Bitmoji TV studio looks like. So she would have somebody here standing, doing the camera, that little person's Bitmoji, and then she would have people, you know, around here at the desk saying the morning announcements. So that's what she's doing. I think that that is a brilliant way to you know, make it a little bit different and fun. And it makes her principal happy, which is the most important thing. Any questions? I don't know if I can answer a lot of questions on that one, just because it's not mine.
Is there an editing program that the students can use to edit their segments in and then send you a finished product?
I have actually just had them record themselves on a phone or something like that. If they know iMovie, they can always edit in iMovie. I'm trying to think what else. I'm sure that there's some programs out there, but I just wanted it to be as just as raw and real as possible, because I felt that that was best during the time. And you never know how long this is going to last. I mean, we might get through September and everything's done and we're all back. You know, I mean, but an editing program would be good. I know that some of my students last year were trying to figure that out, and we didn't. And again, I'm not the expert. I just used what I could at that time. So I'm sorry, I don't have a great answer for that.
And we're getting a question about, could you use Flipgrid videos in your morning news?
I don't see why not. I've never done it. I'm as long as you can get a link, or if you upload it to the YouTube and get a link there, you're good to go.
I know you can download Flipgrid videos and you should be able to place them in your drive, so that might work as well.
Right.
And get a link that way.
Right. So what I ended up doing, so I started off, let me go here first, actually. I started off doing a Google Meet video where it was just me and I had my script and I was doing everything, and then it would just play, and I would send my teachers the link, and I was, you know, trying to.
Good morning, Marsh Point Elementary. I'm so happy to see you. I want to welcome.
So I would try and be as positive as possible, and I would go through all the segments of my morning news just like it was normal, except for it was only me. And then I decided that the last thing they want to see is me every day. So I then I thought, well, I know iMovie pretty well. And I kind of app smashed iMovie, Google Slides, and YouTube together. And I know that sounds difficult, and it's really, really not that difficult. So I would make sure I would try to get different backgrounds. Now that we're in the school, I'm going to have I'm going to be filming my principal in the news studio, so she's very professional. But otherwise, I'm going to have, you know, videos that my kids send me. But what I would do is I would take these videos and I would drop it into iMovie, and I would use Google Slides. Remember, I told you before, you could save, you go to File and you download and you save it as a JPEG. Once you do that, you can upload it into iMovie as a picture. So I would have my segments and I would then do it that way. So for instance, I'll just let this run just a few seconds so you can kind of see how it kind of, hopefully it'll play.
Good morning, Marsh Point. Today is Thursday, April 30th, 2020. I am Mrs. Innerst, and today is the 160th day of school. It's day C for fine arts, and it's the 23rd day of digital learning.
Good morning, Marsh Point Panthers. The weather for today is going to be pretty good in the morning, not so much rain, but get out in the morning because actually in the afternoon, there's a chance of rain. Ah! Raining!
Marsh Point Panther.
You guys get the idea. So she's actually at McDonald's. She's going to give me, say, you know what, if you're bored of the food in your refrigerator, maybe you can take a trip to McDonald's and get McDonald's food. And it continues on, and it goes through all the way to the end. We also did some throwback Thursdays of the teachers when they were little. Then it goes into our joke of the day, Throwback Thursday results. And then at the end is your Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you for watching. So once you do that, you upload it, which is actually very simple. Especially if you have a teenager, because they know this, they taught me. You upload it to, you can either do it to your own personal, or you can do it to your media center's YouTube account. And then it populates, and you get a link, and I would send that every afternoon for the next morning to my teachers, and they preferred it that way. Any questions about that? Nope. Okay.
Nope.
All right. So some of the ideas
I have
that
a quick question about something you mentioned previously with the Bitmoji classroom. I heard you say that the students were being recorded, their presentations were being recorded over Google Meet.
Right.
And then is she inserting, how did you merge the Google Meet recording with the Bitmoji classroom?
That's a good question. I'm not exactly sure how she's doing that. Her name is Lisa Petrosha, and she's at Independence Middle. And I know that she'd be happy to, I was trying to get her on here to answer these questions, but she's unavailable today. She's got a meeting. But somehow I think that maybe what she's doing is she's sharing, I think this is what she's doing. She's gonna start a Google Meet. Then she's going to share her screen, and the screen will be the Bitmoji classroom. Then she will let the students talk through the computer and record that as it's going along. And then she'll click on the different aspects of it to play the videos and things like that. I assume that that's what she's doing. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So some of the things that we've included that were really, and so I knew obviously that they had permission. Plus I already knew who was on my, the people that I could not photograph, my do not photograph list. And those people never sent me anything anyway. And there was only one video I didn't incorporate, and it was a little third grader, and she was doing her little TikTok video and didn't include that one. So. Okay.
And there was another one, another question about how you recruit your virtual news crew.
I did it through a Google form in the spring, but you could do it right now. You could say, and I only use fifth graders. So I could always share, I could share a copy of that with Lisa, and she could send it out. But it was basically, it lists, their telephone number, their email, their parents' name and email, that they have permission from their parents to participate. And then when we go back to brick and mortar, they will become my live people, and I put them into sessions to do that. But right now they all had permission through that Google form. And then from the Google form, because they gave me their emails, I sent them an email inviting them to my news crew Google Classroom, and we're going to have a Google Meet next week.
And would you mind running through again how you actually published? How you published it to the web?
Okay, so if you go up to File, there we go. If you go up to File, you're going to go all the way down here, and it's going to say Publish to the web. And once you do that, you're going to get a link. And so I would make sure that mine is either every 30 seconds. Every minute is really long. So if your admin, usually the admins are the ones that are lengthy. I would have them break it up into different segments, and then you can you know, put them on slide 4 and then do a couple things, and then on slide 7, and so that it's not like so repetitive and things like that. But I would encourage them to keep it under 30 seconds because they really do want to go to the learning. This is not, you know, you don't want it to be super long. You want it to get it done and then into their classroom so that they can start learning. So you want to make sure, if you don't have any videos, keep it every 3 seconds or every 5 seconds, because then it's quick and they get to see what's going on. And if they forget, they can come back and they can look at it again. So I make it every 30 seconds. I start the slideshow as soon as the player loads, and then I publish and I say yes, and it's going to give me a link, and I can either right click or control copy, and I copy it. And once I have the link, then I can put it in my Google Classroom. I can put it on my Google site. You know, then now you've got a lot of options once you have that link.
Okay. Can you describe a little bit how you juggle producing the morning news and the classes?
So I have a very fortunate situation in that I split my time with guidance. And so guidance is halfway on the wheel and I'm halfway on the wheel. And so I teach half of a day, and then it allows me to do my programs such as this in the afternoon or in the morning, because sometimes we flip flop, so she can get to see, my guidance people can get to see different people throughout the day. It is an easier situation, I know, than some have. And I do a lot of project-based learning. So I have a lot of things that I bring in teachers when we're in brick and mortar. They're coming and we're working on a project that they may be presenting to the school or to parents or something like that. So my principal allows me to do that. But that's why I'm showing you the Google Slides one, because once you have everything made, you're just kind of substituting things in. So then it's really fast. It's the iMovie one that kind of takes time. But the slides could be actually really fast. And anytime you change that slide, you don't have to reshare the link. You just refresh and have everybody else make sure they refresh, and it's good to go.
Okay, so the key to that is the Google Slides refresh, and then you don't have to send that out every day, correct?
No, I mean, if you want to, you can, but if they just once that link is published to the web, any changes you make is changed. So if they go out of it and then they come back in, then they should be fine to see it, the new one. I would test it with you know, maybe a couple of teachers in your school and make sure it works, like next week. But honestly, I would start off with maybe 7 slides, 8 or 10 at the most, and see how it goes, and then build your comfort zone from there.
Can you also describe or talk about the privacy in viewing the shows? Do you put it only to your school population? The privacy settings can be tricky. So what are your privacy settings?
I did do because I was using mostly my staff, and I had permission from the very few kids. I made it public. So I did a public on YouTube for that. So this year I'm going to have to try it out because I'm going to be using mostly children. And that's one of the things that we're going to have to talk about in our meeting. And I'm going to try to do a private one with the link and see how that works.
Okay. We had a suggestion that Lisa confirmed, so the teacher could bookmark the morning show and then refresh every day and you don't have to send it. They do the work in the background and refresh in the morning and they're good to go.
That's it should work that way, yes. Again, like I do mine a little bit differently, but I do this on my Google site, and literally yesterday I went in and changed something. I refreshed my page and I had all my new information, and it just keeps looping.
Exactly. Okay. I'm trying to read as it pops up. Lots of thank yous, and you have done a spectacular job.
I'm gonna stop sharing if I can figure that out. There we go. And again, I am in no way an expert. I have just been playing around and learning as I go. Remember that EdTech has lots of previous media specialists who are way more tech savvy than me, and they are fabulous and they are so kind and patient. So utilize EdTech. You know, Tasha, Rebecca, John.
Library this year. Okay, and again, another thank you. Very good. Lisa fell out again, I think.
I'm back again.
Okay.
Yay!
We're having internet difficulties.
So yeah,
But yeah, if you want kids during this time, I created a Google form, and you can send it to all of your 5th grade teachers and have them put it in their classrooms, or put it in your Google Classroom and tell the teachers to promote it, or you just promote it on your news. Say, hey, I'm looking for a couple of really good kids to help me out, and say, go to my Google Classroom, click on the Google form if you want to participate. And then you've got all their information. I asked for everything: parent information, parent telephone number, their email, their parent email, why they wanted to be on the news, because that was important to me. You know, things like that.
Okay, excellent. Very nice job. Very informative.
I hope.
Oh yeah, very good. I don't see any other question. Oh, can you please? Oh, can you share the slides in your form?
Yes, so I'll send, as soon as we get off, I'll send both of those to Lisa.
Perfect.
And then Lisa can share it out.
And I am going to piece together a video from today. There will be some holes. I apologize for that. My internet kept dropping in and out, so I have recorded what I can. I will piece it together with iMovie, but I apologize for the holes in advance.
It's okay.
Yeah, and again, this is another way to promote you and your media center and show everybody how valuable you are and things like that. And if you join EMA and people want a more in-depth way to do it via iMovie, I'd be happy to, you know, as we get into the school year, to do that. But again, hopefully this is not going to last, and we're going to go back to brick and mortar, and our little people are going to be there, and we'll have our morning news like we always do. But if you join EMA and that's something that you want, let us know. And once we have our membership, I will present that to our membership.
Perfect. Perfect.
Awesome. I will be sending out the EMA reopening plans today, so watch your email. There's just a little tweaking I have to do. We have yet to get permission for curbside checkout, but I have to tweak that out of the plans, but hopefully soon, fingers crossed, we will get approval from environmental that we can start curbside checkout. And there are videos on Library Current for how to do holds with your students. So when we get there, you're all good to go with holds.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody that has participated. I do not see any more questions, Lisa.
I just got one more.
Okay.
Tony, I'd like to say, know how you included music.
I went on iTunes and I searched children's. I think I searched children's news music, and I had a couple. I think there were like 3 or 4 that popped up that were free. So I downloaded them and then I listened to them. They're in various lengths, and I just used that.
All right. Any last questions before we say goodbye today? Well, thank you everybody for coming. Thank you, Tony, for sharing your expertise. We're so happy you did. We're so happy all of you joined us here, and we hope that you join EMA this year.
Yes, please. Thank you. All right. Thank you.